announcements. First one is regarding extra classes. As you know, last week UPSC has announced the next year preliminary date. It is on June 27. So we have decided to conduct some extra classes. So weekdays, afternoon 2:30 to 5. So that will be extra class timing. So second one is from September onwards, you will have usual timing like 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 2:30. So based on your original timing, you will have classes. And next thing is this one, weekly 3 days you will have extra classes initially, and slowly we will increase. We want to complete your course by April end next year. So we need totally 230 sessions, approximately 230 sessions. So by April end, we have to complete. As you know, already central government announced like till December, there will not be education institutions. They will not allow for education institutions. So we have to conduct only through online till December. So we can have extra classes from next week onwards. Okay. So probably we can start with the world history first, and gradually we will increase this one. So if you have any doubt, please raise your hand. We will clarify for another 5 to 10 minutes. Then we'll have class. Murli.
Okay, sir.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, today CSAT class was, disrupted today, sir. She said today evening it will be conducted, but today evening we have a polity optional class. So how could that be matched?
Today, see, you are saying CSAT class is interrupted because
Yes,
that
sir.
today your original schedule is till 10:30, but you have stopped by 10 o'clock itself, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it will be compensated next class. Not worry.
Actually, she said that at evening 6 o'clock doubt clearing session, the remaining sums will be cleared. But 6 o'clock we have optional, so.
No problem. I will inform CSAT faculty to repeat again.
Okay, sir.
The half-an-hour topics will be repeated. Not an issue.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Next.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yes.
Sir, after attending the offline classes, then how we have to inform, sir, like which option we choose, like that the final info confirmation for the option. We have to
We
inform
will
them
share
how
one
to sir.
email ID. Whoever want to change your optional, just you communicate to that email ID. We will shift to that batch, and regularly you will get all info. And for each optional, one separate Telegram channel will be created.
Okay, sir. Okay.
In the channel, same like GS, all communication should be shared. Next. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sir, is the timing 2:30 to 5:30, sir, for extra classes?
Yes, extra classes generally always it will be 2:30 to 5, or
Okay.
sometimes during weekend.
Okay.
Weekend
Sir,
evening time.
Okay, sir. Is it confirmed that till December there will be no offline classes, sir?
Yes, already central government announced like education institutions will not be. The parliament in parliament they announced like till December they will not allow for any education institutions.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yes.
Sir, suppose if I want to change the batch, means within which date I have to give mail, sir?
Optional or GS?
GS, sir. Earlier I enrolled for 8 to 10. So, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. That's all, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, book material எப்படி
Good morning.
sir?
Yes, good morning. So,
நீ-
book material, see, by December 1st week, you will receive first 11 books. By December 1st
Okay,
week,
sir. Okay.
you will receive 11 books. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So it is in the printing process. Almost it's going to complete by this week. So we will pack and we will send.
எப்படி சார் நாங்க வந்து வாங்குற மாதிரி இருக்குமா இல்ல நீங்களே அனுப்பணும்?
First one, we will try to send to near branches. And
Hello.
for
ஹலோ சார்.
so actually we are working on logistics. We will inform you.
ஹலோ சார்
Just give
கேக்குதா?
me time till next Tuesday. We will inform you. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I have already paid for optional. I have decided also sociology. So, நீங்க டைரக்டா நான் பெய்ட் பண்ணதுனால என்னோட நேம் ஆல்ரெடி இன்க்ளூட் ஆயிருக்கும். ஸோ டைரக்டா நீங்க ஆட் பண்ணிருவீங்க தானே சார்? இன்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை சார்.
No need.
அதே மாதிரி சார் ஃபார் இப்போ நான் ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸஸ் ஆஃப்லைன் கிளாஸஸ்ல என்ரோல் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் டியூ டு மை இன்கன்வீனியன்ஸ் ஆஃப்டர் டிசம்பர் ஆல்சோ என்னால் வர முடியலன்னா ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸஸ்க்கு என்னால் ஷிஃப்ட் பண்ண முடியுமா சார்?
See, you can continue the same online batch. Not at all an issue.
Okay.
If you want, you can shift to offline after.
Even after December also.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I think Shobhan sir is joined. So whatever you have queries, please text me in WhatsApp. I will reply. Okay. Thank you so much. Sir, you can continue, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, good morning. Yesterday, I think we were discussing with the Rigvedic Society and we are moved on to the later Vedic Society. I was discussing about the Purusha Sukta yesterday, the origin of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. That was what we discussed yesterday. And I said that it was added to the 10th mandala of Rigveda later. It was to establish the Brahmanical supremacy in India, to give legitimacy to all this weird practices like caste system and all. And I told that caste system is one thing which destroyed India. Otherwise, we would have been the world leaders by this time. Because India, with great fortunes, we were one of the finest people in the world. There is no doubt in that. We the Indians, all of us, are supremely talented people. Ancient age, it was the age of India. We had all the discoveries, all the achievements we had. In between, we lost everything because of the brutal ways of caste system. Purusha Sukta, hymn of Rigveda, in the 10th mandala, it said that Brahman came out of the mouth, Kshatriya came from the shoulder, Vaishya from the thighs, and Shudra from the feet. And it was hierarchically arranged. Brahman at the top, Kshatriya then Vaishya, and then Shudra. Why suddenly this happened? The egalitarian society in the early Vedic period, why it changed? The biggest reason for all the change, that God is called Adi Purusha. That's first God. Concept of Adi Purusha is there. Some books we say that it is Brahma. Some says that a divinity, a creator God of everything. No need to worry about that name. But remember Purusha Sukta, the first mention. What is Purusha Sukta important for us in examination point of view? That is Purusha Sukta. It was in Purusha Sukta for the first time the fourfold division of caste. That is Varna based on birth. Varna divided into Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. That was first mentioned in the Purusha Sukta in Rig Veda. And it was added later to give legitimacy. Vedas were forced on the people of India. And there is nothing called any divinity for Vedas. Okay, as some people preach, nothing. It was written by man. It was written with a vested interest, filled with exaggerations, interpolations. Like today's WhatsApp universities are distorting the history. Same way, Rig Veda is also corrupt only. All the Vedas. Why I say that? Rig Veda got a written form even after the 1,000 years after the Rig Vedic period only. Rig Veda and all other Vedas were not written initially. It was just based on the memory of the people. Oral tradition. They used to chant the Vedic mantras thousands of times. So it was passed through the Brahmin people, what they heard, what they memorized. So when it was finally written down, it was filled with exaggerations, interpolations, extrapolations. So there is no point in believing what is mentioned in Vedas with accuracy. We have to analyze that. We have to critically observe that. And that critical observation helped us to identify that first and the 10th mandala of Rig Veda is bogus or corrupt. So my point here is that now Shudras emerged. Why this class of Shudras were created? You have to understand that. Initially, it was a pastoral economy with no private property. So everyone was almost equal politically, economically, socially. There was no need for any, what we can say, discrimination. Plus, there were only limited activity that was scattered by the slaves. Yesterday I mentioned Dasa Dasi. So there were a good number of slaves. So you can do your work with the help of slaves. But in the later Vedic period, Aryans got expanded from Punjab to Bengal. That is entire Indo-Gangetic plains. If you started the geography, you know the Indo-Gangetic plains. The entire Indo-Gangetic plains, the Aryans got spread out. Punjab, Pakistan, Punjab, India, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, fringes of Rajasthan, full Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and parts of West Bengal. So they became the owners of the land. Aryans were very aggressive people. They killed the local people and they expanded. And now they became the owners of the land. Priests emerged at the top. Then the ruling class was there. And there was the producing class, the Vaishyas, the traders as well as the agriculturists. Now agriculture became the most important activity. It became the most important activity. And it required lakhs of people to work for you. Because priests, now they simply do the pujas and they will get the money from the people who perform the puja. They are not ready to work. Rulers, they will never work. They will take the tax from the Vaishyas. And Vaishyas, they have to make this money, trade and agricultural economy. So all this top three, they required people. That is, they required large number of people. And you cannot keep thousands of people. You cannot keep thousands of people as slaves for long. The slaves will come together and they will rouse into revolt. See, same time in the other parts of the world like Greek, Roman world, slaves were there and there was the slave revolts also at that time. Not like the Spartacus revolt later, but minor revolts were there. So, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, more than their combined number was the lower rung people. So, how to fool these people? In India, every atrocity, even to this day, got some religious sanction. Every atrocity in India, whether it is sati, whether it is child marriage, whether it is whatever, everything, okay, untouchability, caste system, everything is in the name of God and religion. So God and religion is the easy way to fool the people. Okay, I am not a atheist or anything. I am a believer, no doubt in that. But you should understand the religion and the God if you are believing. Then we won't fall prey to the blunders. Blindly following every blunder is not the religion. And no God asks you to do that also. But in India, every atrocity can be in the name of God. That's the easy way. So the Brahmins and the Kshatriya alliance, they realized that in order to survive here, the Brahmins and Kshatriya, they entered into an alliance. Brahmins, by performing the sacrifices like Rajasuya, Ashwamedha, I'll come to the sacrifices later, no need to worry. Just listen, this is just an explanation. Okay, no need to worry about that. Brahmins performed Ashwamedha sacrifice, Vajpaya sacrifice, and they said that God had given divine powers to the king, and people were forced to believe that. You will think that why should the people believe that? Even in the 21st century, when the knowledge is in your fingertips by Googling or whatever it is, majority in our country and majority in the world believes blunders, even in this 21st century. So you can imagine 4,000 years back or 3,500 years back, how it was easy to fool the people. Till the recent times, majority of us superstitious. Even today also we are superstitious. If you are going outside, if a black cat jumps across, many will go back to their home. That's happened even in this 21st century. So they gave a legitimacy that Shudras are the community, the former slaves and all, and their successors and the local people of India. They said that you Shudras, your religious duty is to serve the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya. And as the power was concentrated with the Brahmins and Kshatriyas and the money was concentrated with the Vaishyas, it was easy for the powerful group to suppress the numerically majority Shudras. And the Shudras believed that, okay, this is our divine duty to accept all the atrocity, to do everything. So this is why the point here, if anyone asks you why this Shudras and all emerged, the rich required a slave class, but you cannot make the people slaves forever without any ideological background. So religiously, they push this on the Shudras. Shudras, you are the servants of higher three Varnas. This is what happened. And in this way, even to this day, it continues. See, we should champion humanity. We all are born humans. Born as humans, and our life is just for a 70, or if Corona comes, that is also not there. So whenever you are in this world, try to spread happiness, love, and affection to everyone. Yeah, Dasa, Dasyu, and other local people overpowered, they were converted into Shudras. And there is no backing. I don't want to elaborate anything, but once you study everything, all this is atrocity. And as human beings, we can never accept anything like this. And I always quote Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lokmanya Tilak. Whenever there is a topic, when I give some talk on this untouchability society and all, I used to quote Bal Gangadhar Tilak always. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, you know that modern India, you studied Bal Gangadhar Tilak from the Congress extremist onwards to his death in 1920. He was one of the towering figures of India's history. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, in one conference, he said that if there is a God who accepts untouchability, that is, if there is a God who accepts untouchability, I will not regard him as a God at all, because God cannot differentiate. How the caste system came to Dravidians. Wait for 2 more classes. I will elaborate. See, once this ancient India is over, as I said earlier, almost all your doubts will be addressed as the class proceeds. Okay. And in between, I have my own limitation to address all the doubts, because we will stumble upon somewhere. We won't move. Okay. So all your doubts, and see, I had given you the mail. I got I was busy 2 days, so I couldn't check the mail. Just now I was replying to many of you. I will address that through your, you can just send me your mail. Okay, I will answer your doubts. No problem in that. Then next, goddess, if there is a God who accepts untouchability, I will not regard him as a God at all. That is, God cannot discriminate. So if a God who accepts untouchability, he is not a God at all. That's what Balgandhar reflects. So egalitarian nature of the society was gone. Now next, position of women. What happened to the position of women in the later Vedic period? What happened to the position of women during the later Vedic period? The decline of Indian women started, but it was far better than the Gupta period. Yesterday I said that Rigvedic period, women had almost equal position with men. And now we could see the decline in the social position of women. So, first point, there was a decline in the social position of women. There was a decline in the social position of women. They were no longer allowed to participate in religious ceremonies. No longer allowed to participate in religious ceremonies. No longer allowed to participate in Vedic assemblies. So, women were debarred from the public appearances. You are not allowed to participate in religious ceremony. You are not allowed to participate in Vedic assemblies. So, the public role of women got reduced. Then next, they lost the freedom of choice of marriage. Yesterday I said that there was freedom and no marriage was possible without the consent of the girl in the Rigvedic period. Okay. Yesterday I said that there was choice of marriage. That means that no marriage was possible without the consent of girl. Rigveda clearly explains that. There was a marriage of a girl. Her father opposed that marriage, but the girl was firm that I want to marry this guy, and that marriage happened. That shows that there was power for the girls at that time to choose their partner, but that was lost. Freedom of choice of marriage, that was lost. So that was what happened. Yesterday, I said that there was choice of marriage, freedom of choice of marriage for girls in the Rigvedic period. That freedom was lost in the later Vedic period. Now women had no role in selecting their partner. Restrictions started. Why these restrictions? If I explain that, you will know that. See, what are the two troubles before love marriages in India even today? You know, dishonor killings in India happens every now and then. My state, Kerala, had no history of this dishonor killing, but in the last 3 years, we had 3 examples of dishonor killing. Earlier might be there, but it came out in the last 3 years, 3 incidents are there. And it is increasing in India day by day. Social status and economic status. Rich, poor, that gap of rich and poor on one side, and religion and caste. Caste is a big trouble. So, social and economic. And the same happened in the Rigvedic period. Rigvedic period, rich men emerged, private property, I already told that. Economic change was there. Settled agriculture led to the development of private property. Rich and poor, individual property rights emerged. And it was in the later Vedic period, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra emerged. So that caste difference was also there. But you know, love. Love is something beyond all this. See, for example, you will have a better understanding if you had watched the 1960s and 1970s movie. See, most of the theme of the 1960, 70, 80 movie, it is just like that, cliche only. Whether it is Malayalam, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Marathi, Hindi, whatever language, you can see similar movies. In a village, there will be a rich man. A rich man will be there in a village. And by default, rich man will have a beautiful daughter. And there will be a common man in that village, maybe a cowboy man in that village, or he will be coming from some other village. He is extremely poor. Extremely poor. He is extremely poor. He had never gone to the school also, but he is a philosopher. Okay, that is like that. All the best in the world, whether it is in fighting, whether it is in singing, whether it is in talk, everything, that guy will be the epitome of everything. He had never gone to school, but he will defeat the philosophers through his talk. And one day he will save this beautiful girl from some attackers, or like some mad animal. Like in Padayappa movie, Rajinikanth comes and helps. The same way, this man will save this girl. And she will immediately fall in love with him. But initially he will be like this. He will be a philosopher fellow. Girl, look, we are entirely different. Go and search for someone else. I am not fit for you. But she will do something like a tabas or something like that. And eventually he will also fall in love with him. Now comes the villain, the rich man. He will come with his fighters. And then there will be all the fight scenes and all. And climax was also like this. There were two climax. Either both will commit suicide. Either both will commit suicide, or else finally it will be discovered that this poor guy was originally a Rajkumar, missed at the time of the birth. Now father will be happy. Oh, my daughter, you select the right choice. Still, that was necessary. The boy should be of higher status. Finally, it will be like that. So this was the trouble. So many girls might have married the cowboys who are now Shudras. So the family thought that that brought dishonor to us. Now the parents decided that we will decide the marriage, and thus descended upon India what? Arranged marriages. Thus emerged the arranged marriages in India. So arranged marriages emerged during this period. And the arranged marriage reason was this: the economic and social changes happened. Then next, polygamy became common. Now polygamy became common. Monogamy now changed. Earlier monogamy was preferred modern or more. Now polygamy. Man with plenty of wives. Reason is economic change only. Now without doing any work, Brahmins and the Kshatriyas, they amassed huge wealth. Vaishyas with the trade and agriculture also had huge wealth. Earlier in Rigvedic period, entire Aryans, they were fighting with the forces of nature. Yeah, now we are saying later Vedic only. Vedic period, yesterday we mentioned the position of women. That was mentioned yesterday. Now this is later Vedic period. So, later Vedic period, polygamy became common. Reason is that now rich man emerged. Without doing much work, he is rich. Earlier, Aryans were fighting with the forces of nature and labor, too much work. He was not having the time and energy to maintain more than one wife. So that's how monogamy was there in the Rigvedic period. Now we have rich men in Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya community. So no work and with a lot of money. They were in a position to maintain good number of wives. Even today also, rich men was able to keep wives. Only the emperors had thousands of wives, hundreds of wives. Common man, it is not possible. Okay. So that was the reason. Now polygamy increased. Then next point, very core point, still no child marriage. No child marriage in Rig Veda as well as later Vedic period also. So there was no child marriage in the Vedic age. Again, certain books wrongly mentions that child marriage was there. No child marriage. Even though freedom of choice of marriage was gone, still there was no child marriage. There was no child marriage in entire Vedic age. Like early Vedic age, no child marriage. later Vedic age also, no child marriage. Then women were educated. Women were educated. Women were educated during the later Vedic period. The evidence for the education of later Vedic period is that women scholars are mentioned. Gargi and Maitreyi. Gargi, Maitreyi. They were the wives of a priest, Yagnavalkya. Their philosophical debate is clearly mentioned. So it's evidence that women were educated, even though. So the point is that Rigvedic period, there was a decline in the social position, and it was not a complete decline. Okay, it's not a complete decline. There was a decline, but it was not a complete decline. So Gargi, Maitreyi. The next point, property rights were denied to women. There was no property rights. Property rights were denied. No property rights. Gargi and Maitreyi were the women scholars mentioned in later Vedic books. So they used to debate with their husband, Yagnavalkya, scholar and all. So when these women are able to debate on philosophical issues, that is an indication that women were educated. Women were educated. No, Shudras were not having that right. Okay, it's the upper caste. These women belongs to Brahmin caste. We have to assume that Shudras were not educated. No property rights for women. Women were not given any property rights. Yeah, settled agriculture. That's what I was pointing. Settled agriculture led to all this change. All the change is because of that economic change. Widow remarriage and Niyoga continued. Yesterday I explained Niyoga. Niyoga continued. Widow remarriage also continued. Niyoga and widow remarriage both continued. Now you think, why this decline for women also happened? Reason is simple. No property rights for women. That's what I said. Earlier in Rigvedic period, listen, in the Rigvedic period, pastoral economy. Men and women had equal role in the pastoral cattle rearing. Even to today, 70% of pastoral activities in India is performed by rural women. You go to Uttar Pradesh, right Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, everywhere in India, women is the main role in the cattle rearing activities. So Rigvedic period, men and women had equal role in the economy. So there was no scope for a discrimination. But later Vedic period, it became agriculture. Agriculture required more labor, clearing the forest, clearing the alluvial soil, ploughing and all. So that was little labor intensive, and men's physique was more suited for this high laborious work. Okay, now we can do anything, no issue, but still it was generally believed that men's physique was mainly for this high laborious work. So automatically in the later Vedic period, agrarian economy, man became the controller of economic production. So man became dominant in agrarian economy. In the pastoral economy, both men and women had equal role. Both men and women had equal role in the pastoral economy. But here we can see that men and women now change in the agrarian economy. Man had dominant role. Man had the dominant role. So automatically, Shudras were the agricultural laborers. They were also controlled by Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana men. So the man had an upper hand in the economic production. So automatically he developed a superiority complex. Man developed a superiority complex over women because of his control over the economic production. So entire economy, money, it was dependent. That's why I always insist to my students that both boys and girls, you should have your employment. Then only you will get equality. See, the basic law behind the equality is that equality will be among the equals. If you are dependent on your husband, I don't think that equality will prevail there. Just imagine a situation on the birthday of your husband. To purchase a birthday gift for your husband, you take money from your husband and gifting him something. I don't think that fellow will be too much elated or happy with that. So the point is that both men or women, you should be financially secure. That is must. This is interdependence. Men and women should be interdependent. That means husband and wife. Then only life will be good and smooth. That is for sure. No doubt in that. So economic change is the biggest reason for all the changes. So this is what happened in the later Vedic period for women. Their position began to decline. The next point, some additions happened during this time is that the concept of Gotra emerged. We never mentioned that yesterday, but today we say that there is a concept of Gotra or common lineage. Gotra emerged. Earlier you are one tribe. Now what happened is that earlier, yeah, they disintegrated from one area to other. That's the reason. See, assume that this is Bharata tribe. Earlier, we followed tribal endogamy. Tribal endogamy. Gotra simply means a common ancestry. Common ancestry. That is, you are born from a common family. That is the concept of Gotra. I'll explain that. Earlier in the Rigvedic period, assume that this was Bharata tribe. They followed tribal endogamy, means they married from their caste only. A Bharata caste man marries only Bharata caste woman. That was the tribal endogamy. That means you marry from only your tribe. That is called tribal endogamy. Tribal endogamy means you marry from your own tribe only. That is called tribal endogamy. That is tribal endogamy. You marry from your tribe only. One second, let me switch it on charging. Yeah. Tribal endogamy. Now in the later Vedic period, as people began to spread out to different paths, the concept of Gotra emerged. Now within the Bharata tribe, they were divided into too many Gotras. And assume that a Gotra got a different name. Gotra A, Gotra B, Gotra C, Gotra D, E, F, G, H. Like that, the Bharata tribe was internally divided into different Gotras. Concept is that those who belong to Gotra A came from a common ancestor. B came from another ancestor, common ancestor. C will have their common ancestor. D will have their common ancestor. That concept emerged. So earlier the Bharatas could marry each other without any trouble. But now this Gotra means some sort of blood relation. Okay, Gotra now means some sort of blood relation. And now tribal endogamy changed to Gotra exogamy. Tribal endogamy changed to Gotra exogamy. That means you will marry outside your Gotra. Gotra A can never marry from Gotra A. Now Gotra A should marry from B, C, D, E, F, G or H. Similarly, Gotra B cannot marry from B. He could marry either from Gotra A or C, D, E, F, G, H. Hope you got it? That is a social development that happened. So once again I will say, there was a concept of Gotra that emerged during the later Vedic period. Earlier, it was tribal unit. That is, if I belong to Bharata tribe, I could marry a girl from Bharata tribe only. I cannot marry outside my tribe. Okay. That condition got changed in the later Vedic period. Later Vedic period, the same tribe began to spread out to different areas. So in order to maintain an identity of your family base, now came the tradition of Gotra. Same Bharata tribe was internally divided into so many Gotra, Kashyapa Gotra, Dattatreya Gotra, Gautama Gotra, Vishnu Gotra, this Gotra, that Gotra, so many names. But for an understanding, no need to study the name of the Gotras. You just remember that Bharatas, later Vedic period, got internally divided into Gotra, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, like that. Earlier, we could marry anyone from Bharata tribe, but now it is impossible. Now the problem is that if you belong to Gotra A, that means all the people with Gotra A is your blood relation. So it is not good to marry from your blood relation. So Gotra is a big issue in every state of India except Kerala. Even today, when we are studying for LLB and all, we will get that. That issues is there. Gotra is a reason for honor killing in India, dishonor killing in India. Gotra is still a big issue, especially in Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh region. Gotra is still a big issue. See, the problem is like this. You are coming from Bihar. A boy is coming from, Bihar, a girl come from Haryana. They belong to same religion, same caste. Okay, fine. But finally, when their marriage, when they search their Jataka, Kundali, that thing, then you will see that, okay, both belong to a same Gotra. Maybe 10,000 years back or 5,000 years back, they may have belonged to one Gotra, but they are now in Haryana, Bihar with no non-relation for the last 20 generations. Now the people will say that you belong to one Gotra, you cannot marry. But people will marry. People will marry and that trouble will be there. So that was there. See, Niyoga is again, it says something, see, for everything we have some star symbol, conditions apply. The same way Niyoga was something with the star, conditions apply. So that's it. It was a sensible doubt. If it was there, then see, Niyoga is again, no, blood relation is not there. See, there is no need for star for Niyoga. Let me change it. Niyoga, one girl from Gotra A is married to a boy from Gotra B. And that husband fellow of Gotra B dies and his relatives are entering into relation with girl from Gotra A. So there is no trouble of Gotra there. Okay. So that is the Gotra concept. You just remember this. The concept of Gotra or common ancestry emerged in the later Vedic period. Earlier, they followed tribal endogamy. The thing is that you should understand this endogamy and exogamy. That's only confusion here. Earlier, it was tribal endogamy. That means you can marry from your tribe. Later Vedic period, it changed to Gotra exogamy. You can marry from your tribe, but should not be from same Gotra. That's it. Is it clear? Is this point of tribal endogamy, Gotra exogamy clear? Okay, fine, clear. So that's it. Then there emerged a new concept called ashrama system. Ashrama system emerged during the later Vedic period and it is called the life stages of man. The life stages of man. Ashrama system, it is also called life stages of man. And 3 ashramas emerged during this time. 3 ashramas. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, and Vanaprastha. So Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, 3 ashramas emerged during the later Vedic period. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha. Brahmacharya means you should be following that celibacy. That is your student. You should be a student. Then Grihastha. Grihastha, family life. Vanaprastha, towards the end of your life, going to the forest. And many raised a doubt about sannyasa. No problem, it's good doubt. There is fourth ashrama is also there. That is called sannyasa. But that developed during the Mahajanapada period. Due to Mahajanapada, during the Mahajanapada period, not in the Vedic age. The point here is that ashramas emerged in the later Vedic period, but only three. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha. These three came up in the later Vedic period, and sannyasa that emerged during the Mahajanapada period. Brahmacharya means you should follow a bachelor life, no contact with a woman. Roughly means the time period we are the students and all. Okay, that's what Brahmacharya. After you finishing that bachelor life, go and marry. That is Grihastha, family man. Grihastha, family. Griha means family, family life. And finally, towards the end of your life, you will lose your wishes, passions, ambitions and all. Then you go to forest and settle down there. That is Vanaprastha. Later, sannyasa also emerged. Sannyasa emerged in Mahajanapada period. That is our next topic. We will discuss that. Mahajanapada period. Mahajanapada period. Mahajanapada. That's Mahajanapada. So that's regarding the, yeah, it is for man. Life stage is for man. Place of worship and all, I am going for the next topic, that is the religion. Okay, I will explain that. So this is regarding the Rig Vedic, later Vedic society. Vedic age is not over. We are coming to the last point of that. Now comes the next topic, Rig Vedic religion. Rig Vedic or early Vedic religion. That's the next topic. Rig Vedic or early Vedic religion. So Rig Vedic religion, that gives us an idea that how gods emerged. Rig Vedic Aryans, that is early Vedic Aryans, worship the forces of nature. They worship the forces of nature. So nature was the god of man. Forces of nature. See, if something is beyond your control, or if something is supreme than you, you will always have a fear and respect to that. So the Aryans, they could not understand the nature forces, and they began to worship the force of nature in human form. They worship the force of nature in human form. And their principal gods, first one, the most important god was Indra, the god of rain and thunder. So rain was much required for the Aryans for the survival of their cows and all green pastures. So Indra, rain and thunder. Rain and thunder, Indra was their chief god. See, thunder was the Vajrayuda of Indra. See, in our Puranas, we mentioned the Vajrayuda. Thunder was the Vajrayuda of Indra. Then the second important god was Agni. Agni was the second most important. Not Varuna. Varuna was not the god of rain. Varuna was the god of water only, ocean and river. Rain god was Indra. Okay. Agni was the most important god, second. See, the reason is that even today we don't have answer to the wildfires. You remember the wildfire recently happened in Australia. 50 crore animals were gone. The wildfires in Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Tri-Junction. It's very troublemaking. Californian wildfires. So people were afraid of Agni Deva. Third most important god was Varuna. Varuna was the third god. And Varuna was the controller of Ritu. He was the controller of Ritu. So the gods, Ritu means season. Varuna was considered as the controller of seasons, seasonal change. That can be a question in between, Varuna. So the Agni means fire god, Agni means fire god, Agni means fire god, fire. So Aryans worshipped the forces of nature beyond their control, and the gods were made in human form. Indra was the rain and thunder god, Agni was the fire god, Varuna. Same way they had so many gods. Vayu, that is air god, was there. And all you know, the Aryans, they made a liquor god also. They had a liquor god. Varuna was the controller of water and the season. Their liquor god was Soma. See, Soma was a creeper. See, assume that. A tree, and Soma fellow, it was actually a plant. Soma was actually a plant. So that was a creeper. Sorry, 1 second. Soma was actually a creeper in the tree. Somarasa or Somasura, that was the liquor. So, how the Soma could become a god, that I will explain in my story. One day, one Aryan might have made a juice out of this Soma. And after drinking that, he felt something different. A different feel than all other drinks he had. So he invited all his friends to drink that. All the Aryans became attracted, addicted to that. So what happened? They finished all this Soma. And suddenly it was finished. Assume that Soma was a seasonal plant. Now Aryans became very sad that they are not getting Soma juice. So they thought that our over-exploitation made the Soma angry. So now they made the Soma a god. And they began to pray to Soma. After 8 months or from that time, Soma plant came back again. And Aryan said that he is also a powerful god. So this is how the gods emerged in the Aryan period. Someone asked for the last slide. You can see this. Varuna was the god of water also. Water god. River and oceans. And he was also the controller of seasons, according to the Aryan belief. So these were the gods. Then next, how they worshipped. So many gods are there. Mitra, or so many are there. No need to worry about that names. No one is going to ask that. How they worshipped? Is it prayer or sacrifice? What was the mode of their worship? It was prayers plus sacrifice, but the primary role was prayer. Prayer was primary and sacrifice was secondary. The term for sacrifice was yajna. So Rigvedic religion was prayers and sacrifice. Both prayer and sacrifice was there. Both prayer and sacrifice was there. And the primary role was prayer and sacrifice was secondary. Then, what the Aryans prayed for? What was their principal requirement? They prayed many things, but they had two special requirements to the God. Yeah, first is cow. Rain was not their principal demand. Their specific demand, one was cow. And second was the birth of brave sons. So they mainly prayed for this two. Cow and brave son. Not simple son. It should be brave man, brave sons. So that preference for, brave means, brave means, you don't know brave? Brave means that fighter, Veera sort of thing. Okay. Brave man. We used to say that now. Our soldiers are brave. That brave. Brave sons. So that point is that even in the Rigvedic period also you can see the preference for, Bahubali, yes. Preference for male son. Sorry. Son, not male son. Preference of son, not simple son, brave son, and you add the term for that. It is called Suvira. So this can be a question. Suvira term, Vedic age refers to what? Brave son. They prayed for brave sons. Prayed for brave sons. Then female gods, that is goddesses, were also there. Goddesses were also there. And the goddesses had secondary position. They were associated with male gods. So there were female gods, goddesses were there, but they were secondary. Again, if a question in GS means, if a question in GS means comes, even though there was high equality between men and women in the Rigvedic age, still we can see some sort of discrimination. You can say patriarchal society, patrilineal society. Then you can say this goddesses had a subordinate position. There was preference for male child. Then no divorce rights given. So all this you can add as the discrimination even within the Rigvedic period. Okay. This is whenever you study a point, okay, whenever you go and read my note, don't try to mug up into your head. You will forget that very soon. Try to visualize the history, what will happen then. Think over it again and again. Automatically all this will be in your mind. This thing is comparative analysis only. Comparative analysis only. So with comparative analysis, it will be stored in your mind. This is the way you have to study. Clear? Then next, there was no place of worship. No temple. There was no place of worship. So like Indus Valley also, now also no temples and no idol worship also. No idol worship. They worshipped Indra through prayer. They worshipped Vishnu, Varuna through prayer. No idols were created for any god. Nothing was there. So this is regarding the Rigvedic religion. These are the points you should remember. Rigvedic religion. Once again, I will explain. They worshipped the forces of nature, which were, priests were there to do puja, but they were not having that power. This is Rigvedic period. Priests became dominant only in the later Vedic period, as I said earlier. Okay, priests became dominant in the later Vedic period only. So once again, I will explain that. The point is that they worship the force of nature. Yeah, they prayed through imagination. Imagination. Just like we pray to a god. Okay, I can pray right now. without thinking, okay, some god. And how they worshipped in human form, they described Indra with two big powerful hands and all. Descriptions are there in the Vedic mantras. Indra looks like this, Agni looks like this, Varuna was very handsome. Such references are there. From that, we are identifying that they are worshipped in human form. Then male gods, female gods. Clearly mentioning that. So gods, man thought that God is also like us. So that's why they worship God in human form. Now next, later Vedic religion. Later Vedic religion. What happened in the later Vedic religion? See, later Vedic religion, there was a main change in the religion, that was spiritualism emerged. Spiritualism emerged in the later Vedic period. Spiritualism emerged. See, every religion, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Sikhism, Parsi religion, Buddhism, Jainism, every religion spiritual in nature. The concept of good and bad, concept of hell and heaven, dharma, adharma, papa, punya, good karma, bad karma, ethics, morality, every religion is filled with that. But Rigvedic religion, there was nothing like a spiritualism there. There was no concept of spiritual world. There is no concept of other world. Your death, you have to go to other world. Such things were absent in Rigveda. But all these concepts emerged in the later Vedic period. And development of this spiritualism was championed by Upanishads. Upanishads and all we will study in detail in our art and culture class, Vedic literature part. What was this Upanishads? What was this Upanishads? Or what were these Upanishads? Or what is Upanishads? You can say that. Not stories, not simple stories. Mundaka Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. I want what is this Upanishad? Not exactly religious text, morals and ethics, philosophy. Philosophy of what? These are the philosophical explanation of Veda. Upanishads are philosophical explanation of Vedas. Philosophical explanation of Vedas. That is, Vedas are explained philosophically. That is the inner meaning of Vedas. Excuse me, once again. Yeah, Vyakhyana, explanation. What is the philosophical inner message of Vedas? That is Upanishads. And Upanishads are filled with ideas. See, for example, the motto of India. What's the motto of India? India government's motto. It's not Aham Brahmasmi. Yeah, Aham Brahmasmi is there. India government's motto, Satyameva Jayade. Satyameva Jayade. Truth alone triumphs. Truth is a God. That's what I would like to say to you all. Truth will prevail eventually. So truth is God, no doubt in that. So Satyameva Jayade, Aham Brahmasmi, such ideas emerged in the Upanishads. So that all proves that the religion got spiritualism. Spiritualism. Yeah, life after death concept was absent in Rigveda. So spiritualism emerged. Now emerged life after death, all these conditions emerged in the later Vedic period. Satyameva Jayade was mentioned in Mundaka Upanishad. Mundaka Upanishad. And that is an Upanishad of Atharva Veda. That is an Upanishad of Atharva Veda. That part, no need to worry. I will explain to you all in the art and culture class, so that, as Chandru sir said that, after December probably we will go for offline class. So in the art and culture class, I will explain all face to face. Upanishad is philosophical explanation. Someone asked what is Upanishad. Yeah, life after death was there in Harappan civilization. That we already explained, the god, burial of god and grave goods, and say burial of dog and grave goods. Upanishads are the philosophical explanation of Vedas. That is an attempt to bring out the inner meaning of Vedas. That is Upanishads. So the point here is that later Vedic religion, it became spiritual in nature. Then next one. So the spiritualism emerged, that led to a change in the gods. Change in gods. See, Linga of spiritualism means that we are saying that in the later Vedic period, religion became spiritual. And how? What is the evidence that religion became spiritual? That evidence is provided by Upanishads, which are the philosophical explanation of Vedas. So, when Vedas give spiritual philosophy, we said that later Vedic period, spiritualism emerged in the religion. Change in the gods. To an extent, people began to follow spiritualism as a way of life, not completely. See, who was the chief god in the Rigvedic period? Who was the chief god of the Rigvedic period? Indra. That Indra now lost the status of a god. He was thrown out from the list of gods. Indra no longer a god at all. Why? Why Indra lost the status of god? What happened to Indra and why he lost the status as a god? Why Indra lost the status of god? Not famine, not agriculture, not that. Reason is simple, the ethics, morality. I said that spiritualism emerged. Ethics, morality, good karma, bad karma, everything emerged. People became ethically high. What were the extracurricular activities of Indra? Can you say what were the extracurricular activities of Indra? Extracurricular, not the main activity. Main activity is river and all. Extracurricular activity, Indra always danced with the nymphs, Ramba, Menaga, Urvashi and all. Full time dancing and mesmerizing with this Apsaras. 24/7 Somarasa drinker. 24/7 he was a drunkard. Then extramarital relations also. Going behind the wives of others and all. So that was Indra. So that Indra was okay for Rigvedic Aryans because they are trying to get luxury in the life, like more cow, more son. So for them, for an average Rigvedic man, Indra was an okay god. But later Vedic period, the spiritualism emerged. That is the concept of good things and bad things. Good karma, bad karma. Dharma, adharma. Papa, punya. Swarg, narag. So all these concepts emerged and people became little spiritual. So they looked at their chief god, a womanizer, a drunkard, an extramarital relation fellow, morally very weak. And they thought that he is our primary god. It's not good for us. So they took Indra out of that. Any trouble with the internet? Someone is saying Indra male only. Indra is male. So Rigveda clearly mentioned Indra was dancing, Indra was drinking, and everything is in Rigveda. So we assume that ethically people became high, they thrown Indra out of the god list. So Indra was finished as a god. Then next, then who emerged the chief god? Who emerged as the chief god? Who emerged as the chief god? No. Now came a chief god called Prajapati. Prajapati. Prajapati now emerged as the chief god. Prajapati. Daksha Prajapati. Yes. Daksha Prajapati. See, every religion, every religion there is a concept of a creator God. In every religion we can see that there is a concept of a creator God. Likewise, here also there emerged a God, a creator God was emerged, and that creator God was Daksha Prajapati. He had all these three: creation, protection, and destruction. Srishti, Sthiti, and Samhara. So initially everything was done by Daksha Prajapati. In the later Vedic period, Daksha Prajapati was the supreme god. And later, as the time period gone, Daksha Prajapati became old and he was tired of all this. So Daksha Prajapati took only creation and eventually became Brahma. Protection was gone to Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara. No need to worry about that. That's the terms. Creation means Srishti, Sthiti means protection, and Samhara means destruction. Vishnu emerged. And destruction was given to Mahesh. Shiva name emerged later. Okay. Protection was called Sthiti. So the Trinity, this is the point you have to write. The concept of Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, emerged in the later Vedic period. Then next, creation means Srishti. No need to worry about these things. Okay, this is just a wording. No one will ask that. No need to worry. Now next, after Prajapati, and Trinity emerged from Prajapati towards the end of later Veda. Then next, sacrifices became the most important form. Sacrifices became the chief mode of worship. Sacrifices became the chief mode of worship. Sacrifices became the chief mode of worship. And thus what happened? Brahmins became highly influential. Now it was forced on the people that without doing sacrifice, God will not answer you. There is no progress for you without sacrifice. And Brahmins are the people who are close to God. So only through Brahmins only you can approach the God. Otherwise you can never approach the God. So people were forced to believe that only through Brahmin God will answer you. Only by doing sacrifice God will be blessing you. Otherwise God won't turn a look at you. So people were forced to believe this, and sacrifices emerged. And sacrifices included royal sacrifices. Royal sacrifices like Ashwamedha, Vajapaya, Rajasuya. Such royal sacrifices to the common household sacrifices, birth, death, marriage and all. So for every aspect of your social life, the life was filled with the sacrifices. So sacrifices became the chief mode of worship, and thus the Brahmanical domination over religion and society was firmly established. Next point, no place of worship. Still no place of worship. No place of worship. Vajapaya is a sacrifice to give strength to the king. Do that puja and a drink will be given to the king, and it is believed that king will become more vigorous after that. No need to worry about that. Just remember the name. And in across our topics, I will come across all this. No need to worry. Ashwamedha is a whole sacrifice. So no place of worship. Then next point. No idol worship also. Ashwamedha Vajpayee Rajasuya. Then next one, no place of worship, no idol worship also. No idol worship. That is no temple, then no idol worship. Idols will be placed in temple sort of thing, and then only you will venerate that. So no place of worship, automatically no idol worship also. Then significantly, next point is very significant. Aryans adopted the local beliefs. Local beliefs. Aryans adopted the local beliefs. Aryans, they adopted the local beliefs. That means the beliefs that were practiced in India before the arrivals of Aryans. Example, phallus worship and worship of Mother Goddess. Phallus worship and worship of Mother Goddess. Now this too, which was earlier in India and not there in early Vedic period, now became the part of the later Vedic religion. And it is from this phallus worship, the worship of Shivlinga, that started after this phallus worship. So for your understanding, I will draw that. See, 3 time period we have. See, for example, this is Indus Valley civilization. This is early Veda. And this is later Veda. Time period, say 2500 BC to 1800 BC. And this one 1500 BC to 1000 BC. This one 600 BC. In IVC, we had phallus. We had Mother Goddess. But in early Vedic period, no phallus, no Mother Goddess. But later Vedic period, phallus emerged and Mother Goddess emerged. So the meaning is that originally the Aryans had no phallus worship and no Mother Goddess worship. But when the Aryans got mixed with the people of India, Bihar, Bengal region, they adopted the practices of local people into their religion. Thus, later Vedic religion adopted the features from later Vedic religion adopted features from the local beliefs of India. And thus, phallus worship or the worship of Shivling all emerged into this one. And another reason is that they are incorporating the Shudras also into their culture. So something similar to the Shudra beliefs or the local beliefs was also to be incorporated. That was also a reason. This I will explain more better in the post-Maurya period, how this Brahmanical culture entered into South India. There you will get this idea. What's the chat doubt? They were little superior than the peace-loving local people of India. Aryan people were aggressive. They came with weapons and hordes, and they overpowered the people. So that is the Rigvedic and the later Vedic religion. So later Vedic religion, very crucial point to be remembered. During the later Vedic period, Aryans adopted the local beliefs in India, such as the phallus worship and the worship of Mother Goddess. Yeah, Aryans came with powerful thing. Okay, powerful. Aryans were powerful. Physically and technologically, they were powerful. So that's regarding the where Aryans non-vegetarians. Yes, Aryans, the main food of Aryans was meat. The main food of Aryans was meat and dairy products. Meat and dairy products. Okay, meat and dairy products. All the Brahmins of all at that time also had meat And why they became vegetarian, that I'll explain in the post-Maurya class. Okay, initially are in sea, they do sacrifice. Next page I will show. What is sacrifice? Sacrifice is killing of cows. Diary spelling wrong. Okay. Sorry. I gone for the other diary. Save. Sacrifice is killing of cows. And you know, in our temple, we are getting prasad. Prasad. Now, like our Palani Panchamridam, Aravana in Shabrimala, like that we are getting prasad. Na? The prasad was meat only, meat of this animal. That was the prasad. And everyone had that. And there is a term called Gokhna in Rigveda. Gokhna. Gokhna was the guest, the visitor to your home. The guest is called Gokhna. And literal meaning of Gokhna means killer of cow. Killer of cow. Gokhna. That means in Rigveda it is clearly mentioned that whenever a guest, Aditi, comes to your home, he should be served with the best quality beef. That is clearly mentioned in Rigveda. So, meat was a delicacy of Rigvedic Aryans. Later Vedic time, agriculture became important. Animal husbandry was required. Cows and bulls required for agriculture. There is no evidence that they worshipped the cow. No evidence that they worshipped the cow. No evidence. So it was the significance of agricultural economy. The people began to protest against the sacrifice. See, there were sacrifices which killed 24,000 cows. Single sacrifice. So the killing of indiscriminate killing of animals means that is against agriculture. Agriculture required large number of animals for plowing. Thus emerged the concept of ahimsa. See, Buddha, Mahavira all came with the concept of ahimsa in India around 600 BC. That is at the end of the Vedic age, because their ahimsa was not to kill the people. This ahimsa was primarily against the sacrifices of Brahmins. The sacrifice of thousands of animals. Ahimsa by Buddha and Mahavira, that was actually a response or reaction against the animal killing sacrifices by the Aryan Brahmins. The concept of ahimsa was a product of agrarian economy. Yes, later Vedic period, thousands of animals were killed for sacrifice. So that became detrimental to agriculture. So the agrarian economy, they pressurized, and that pressure took the form of Buddhism and Jainism and emerged ahimsa. All this we will explain later. So Vedic age core points are over. Now take 5 minutes break. We will be back with the remaining points of Vedic age. So welcome back. So next topic. The geographical knowledge of Aryans. Geographical knowledge of Aryans. See, in Rig Veda there is a sukta called Nadi Sukta. Nadi Sukta, Nadi, Nadi, which mentions 42 rivers. Nadi Sukta mentions 42 rivers. And the most important river was Sindhu, that is Indus. See, geographical knowledge is common for both Rigvedic and later Vedic period. So Nadi Sukta mentions about 42 rivers, and the most important river is Sindhu. And other prominent rivers were Vitasta, Askini. Nadi Sukta is a sloga of Rigveda. Nadi Sukta is just a sloga of Rigveda. Nadi Sukta is a sloga of Rigveda. Parushni, Vipasa, and Shadadru. These are the prominent rivers, and these rivers are Vidasta is the Jhelum river today, Askini is the Chenab river today, Parushni is the Ravi river, Vipasa is Bias river, and Shadadru is Sadlaj river. So the Vedic names of Indus and its tributaries: Sindhu, Indus; Vidasta is Jhelum; Askini is Chenab; Parushni is Ravi; Vipasa is Bias; and Shadadru is Sadlaj. Yes, names to be remembered: Sindhu, Vidasta, Askini, Parushni, Vipasa, and Shadadru. The sacred river was Saraswati. That is our Gaggar Hakra river. Gaggar Hakra. Saraswati was the sacred river of the Aryans. Sindhu was the most important. Saraswati was the sacred river. Saraswati river was also called Harkavati. Harkavati. Just like we say Ganga is the sacred river of India, same way Aryans, the sacred river was Saraswati, their holy river. They gave too much importance to that. That's all. There is no point in calling one river holy and other rivers unholy. It's a part of a tradition. That's it. Harkavati. Okay. Then was there any mention of Ganga and Yamuna in Rig Veda? Was there any mention of Ganga, Yamuna in Rig Veda? Yes, there is mention. There is once. Ganga and Yamuna are mentioned once. Ganga, Yamuna mentioned once in. See, I don't know whether you people didn't attend that Indus Valley civilization. Indus Valley civilization, I mentioned a river called Gaggar Hakra. Gaggar Hakra was the modern name of Saraswati river. Now that river is not there. Okay. So Ganga, Yamuna are mentioned. Then later Vedas, Harkavadi is another name of Saraswati. In Rig Veda, there is another mention of Saraswati as Harkavadi. Harkavadi was another name of Saraswati river. Okay, like Ganga river itself is having so many names. Ganga river is called Jahnavi. Jahnavi is another name of Ganga because it comes out of the year of Jugnu Maharshi. Jugnu Rishi. That's why Ganga is also called Jahnavi. Like that. Then next, later Vedas clearly mentioned in. See, the point here is that there is a mention of Ganga and Yamuna in Rig Veda. There is a mention of Ganga and Yamuna in Rig Veda. And the later Vedas, next, later Vedas mentions about Ganga and all its tributaries. All the tributaries of Ganga mentioned in later Vedas. That is obvious. Later Vedas is in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar region. So automatically Ganga and all its tributaries are mentioned. The point to be remembered is that in Rig Veda, Ganga and Yamuna are mentioned only once. Later Vedas clearly mentions about this. Next point. Himalayas are known to the Rigvedic people. Himalayas. And Himalayas are known as Musvand. Musvand was the term for Himalayas in Rig Veda. Musvand. Musvand was the term in Rig Veda. And later Veda, see, Jahnavi and Ganga, no need to worry about that. That is just a talk. Okay. Leave that. No need to worry. Later Vedic period, it was called Himavant. Himavant. So, Rig Veda called Himalaya as Musvand. Later Vedas call Himalayas as Musvand. Sorry. Rig Veda Musvand. Later Veda Himavant. The next one. Rig Veda mentions about the term Samudra. Rig Veda mentions about the term Samudra, but they had no knowledge of oceans. So seems to be little weird. In Rig Veda, there is a term called Samudra. But I say that Rigvedic Aryans had no knowledge of oceans. Rigvedic Aryans had no knowledge of oceans. Because Samudra mentioned by Rigveda is somewhere in Afghanistan, Pakistan region. So that is just a lake or a big water pool. Samudra was mentioned not as ocean in Rigveda. Understand? There is a term called Samudra. Samudra today means ocean. But in Rig Veda, Samudra is mentioned for a lake or a large pool of water. So, you should understand that. See, Rig Veda is written in Sanskrit language. So, we read that and we understood that. Later Vedas means all Vedas other than Rig Veda. All this I explained yesterday. So, in between, if you have any doubts, that's what I said. Na, you mail me your doubts. I will answer that. The class is getting lagged. Actually, I used to finish all these topics in 3 sessions and we are into the 4th session. You have to bear me for long if you ask these doubts too much. And I am getting out of focus at times. Okay. So that's why your doubts about whatever it is, Ganga, Jahnavi, Jugnu, whatever it is, you mail me. I will answer all your doubts. Okay. Language of Vedic people is Sanskrit. You ask these doubts in my mail, not in the midst of the class now. As if we are in the classroom, it is manageable, but this is not possible. No? That's it. Later Vedas, now come to that. Later Vedas mentions about Eastern and Western Ocean. Later Vedas mentions about Eastern and Western Ocean. That means Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. Bay of Bengal and all is a modern name, okay? They never mention Bay of Bengal or Arabian Sea. Later Vedas mentions about Purvi Sagar, Paschimi Sagar, that is Eastern Ocean, Western Ocean. In the east we have Bay of Bengal, west we have Arabian Sea. So we clearly say that later Vedic people had the knowledge of oceans. Later Vedic people, they had the knowledge of oceans. Then Dhanva was the term used for desert. Dhanva. Dhanva was the term used for desert. And there is another term called Maru. You know Maru, Marubhumi, Maru Sagar, Marustali. So Dhanva was the term for desert. Maru was also the term for desert. So that's regarding the knowledge of the Aryans, the geographical knowledge of Aryans. The next one. There is a term in Rig Veda called Dasharatnya. Both in Rigvedic and later Vedic, Maru is there. Maru means desert. Maru means desert. Maru means desert. Dhanva means desert. These are the terms used. Okay. For everything we have similar, different terms. Na? Like that, Dhanva is desert. Maru is also desert. Coming. I think it is something happened in between. Is it okay right now? Is it okay? Okay, fine. It was, I think, a technical issue. Okay, let me go for that map again. Whiteboard. It's gone. Everything is gone. Meeting settings. So Dasharatnya. Yeah, coming. Dasharatnya. So today after the class, there will be 15 minutes doubt clearance session. Classroom coordinator Murali, please take a note. From 1 o'clock to 1:15, we will have doubt clearing session. Okay. So please don't disconnect the session. There will be 15 minutes doubt clearing session. Dasharatnya is called Battle of 10 Kings. Battle of 10 Kings. This is the most important political event of Rigvedic period. And this battle was fought on the banks of Parushni river. Parushni means which river? Parushni, which river? Someone answer? Yeah, Ravi river. So this is very important. 17 times already. 17 times this question was asked in UPSC. 17 times related to Dasharatnya. Dasharatnya was on the banks of Parushni river, and it was a battle of 10 kings. So in this battle, what happened was that Bharata king Sudas, Rigvedic period, that is early Vedic. Bharata king Sudas, he defeated 5 Aryan and 5 non-Aryan kings. There was an alliance of 5 Aryan and 5 non-Aryan kings. That alliance was defeated by Bharata king Sudas. This was Dasharatnya. So remember that there was a battle in Rigveda or early Vedic period. That is Dasharatnya. And if anyone have a confusion, once again I am saying that early Vedic period is also called Rigvedic period. Early Veda is based solely on Rigveda. So whenever I say early Vedic or Rigvedic, both are same. Then the later Vedic is the age of other Vedas. All other Vedas other than Rigveda is later Vedic period. So this is Dasharatnya. Totally 10 kings, but it is called Dasharatnya only. Because that alliance of 5 and 5, that's why it is called Dasharatnya. Now, why this battle happened? Significance, that I'll explain. Just listen. Bharata was just one among the tribe of the Aryans. But Bharatas had a mentor, a Guruji, just like Dasharatnya in Rigvedic period, early Vedic period. I said that numerous times now. So, the Guruji of Bharata was Vishwamitra. And with the help of this Vishwamitra, Bharatas became the ruling tribe of Aryans, the most powerful. Bharatas emerged as the most powerful tribe because of their Guruji Vishwamitra. But once the Bharatas reached the glory, they dumped Vishwamitra. They had thrown Vishwamitra out and made Vasishta the ruler. Vasishta was made the ruler. Sorry, Vasishta was made the teacher, Guruji, Raj Guru. So you can imagine the feeling of Vishwamitra. Pain, agony, and Vishwamitra wanted to take revenge. To take revenge on Bharatas, Vishwamitra formed an alliance of 5 Aryan and 5 non-Aryan kings. But Bharatas were very powerful by that time. And Bharata king Sudas, he defeated the alliance of 5 Aryan and 5 non-Aryan kings created by Vishwamitra. Clear? So that is Battle of 10 Kings, Dasharatnya. Then this Vishwamitra, he composed the famous Gayatri Mantra. Vishwamitra was replaced by Vasishta. No one will ask that. I give you the 100% guarantee. Okay. Vishwamitra could be asked here. Gayatri Mantra. You know that Om Bhur Bhur Swaha, that mantra. Gayatri Mantra was written by Vishwamitra. And Gayatri Mantra was written for God Savitri. God Savitri. It's a male god. Okay. Though no male now use the term Savitri. But this was for God Savitri. Gayatri Mantra was for God Savitri. My question. This is another topic. Okay, geographical knowledge we finished. This is a political event of Rigveda. This is an exam specific fact only. I am giving you a probable fact of Rigvedic period for exam. So here my open question. Savitri is a male god related to solar god, not Surya or sun, but a solar god only, a cousin of sun. You can think like that. My question, open question to you. Gayatri Mantra is in which Veda? Gayatri Mantra is in which Veda? Rigveda only, because we said that Vishwamitra belonged to Rigvedic period, Dasharatnya and all. So you have to think like that, okay? It is in Rigveda only, because all this happens in the Rigvedic period. Vishwamitra also lived in the Rigvedic period. So that's why this is Rigveda or early Veda. Good. Then next, In later Vedic period, tribal merger happened. Aryan tribes began to merge together. Tribal merger happened. That is, Aryan tribes began to merge themselves into bigger tribes. Reason is political. Now you became rulers, and they felt that it's not that easy to control the people with your limited power. So the ruling families decided to merge together to form bigger ruling families in order to control the people. For example, Bharata, they merged with Puru. Later Veda. This is happening in later Veda. Tribal merger happened in later Vedas. Later Vedic period. Tribal merger happened in later Vedic period. Bharata and Puru, the dominant, they now got together. Bharata and Puru merged together and the new tribe emerged, that is Kuru. And it is this Kuru Vamsha, Kaurava and Pandava. Kaurava, Pandava all belongs to this Kuru Vamsha. Bharata, Kuru, that is Kuru Vamsha. So this is a new tribe called Kuru. So that is later Vedic period. Bharata and Kuru came to an end by merger, and now a new tribe emerged from both Bharata and Kuru, that is Kuru. Same way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tribes merged. That is 5 Vedic tribes. No need to study their name. Yadu, Turvasha, Druhu, Srinaya, Somaga. No need to study the name. So I am not going to repeat the names. 5 tribes, they merged together to form Panjala tribe. So no one will ask which tribe merged with which tribe. Bharata and Puru, you remember, that is the only thing if they ask. Here the point should be remembered is that during the later Vedic period, Aryan tribes merged together to form bigger tribes. So this is what happened. Okay, so that's the Vedic age. Now what is remaining in Vedic age is the Vedic literature and some additional facts. Vedic literature and that additional facts we will discuss in the art and culture class. For the time being, you focus this and also read that NCERT books. NCERT book of R.S. Sharma you read, this Vedic and later Vedic period. And that will complete your preparation. Gotra was still there. Even after the merger also, they looked the Gotra and then only they married. Kuru didn't join with the Panjala. Kuru was separate. Panjala was separate. Example, I will say you. See, Kuru, you just understand this one. Now we had the tribes. Kuru, Panjala tribe was there. Kurus had the Pandavas and the Kauravas. The Pandavas and the Kauravas, they are this Kuru. So the Kuru prince, Kuru princess, Pandavas, they got married to Panjala princess, Panjali, also called Draupadi. This way they were linked. Okay, they didn't merge. Kuru was a tribe in later Vedic period. Panjavalla was another tribe, and they had matrimonial relation. Kuru Rajkumar's Pandavas married Panjala Rajkumari Panjali, also called Draupadi. Next, we are moving to the next topic. Mahajanapadas. Mahajanapadas. And the time period Mahajanapadas is 600 to 300 BC. Mahajanapadas time period is 600 to 300 BC. What is this Mahajanapadas? What is this Mahajanapadas? Can anyone say what is this Mahajanapadas? Something happened in India for the first time. That is state formation. Well-devised geographical boundary. See, Indus Valley, you leave it apart. How was the Aryan life? Tribal polity, tribal life, tribe, everywhere tribe. The significance was for tribe and not for the geographical territory you live. That was there in the Vedic age. But later Vedic age, people began to settle down. They came into close contact. And all that led to the growth of geographical identity. Today we say, this is India, this is Pakistan, this is Bangladesh, this is Nepal, this is Bhutan, China, Iran, Iraq, like that. States emerged in India for the first time. For a state to survive, rulers were there, should be there, geographical boundary should be there, administration should be there. So many things like that should be there. So what all requirements for the formation of a state? That happened towards the 600 BC, and thus emerged states in India for the first time. So you write, Mahajanapadas refers to Mahabharata is a history of 1500 years. I will deal that when we reach Guptas. Okay, so till then wait for Mahabharata. Mahabharata was not written by a single person. Mahabharata was not a history of 100 years. Mahabharata is a history of India for 1500 years. History with all the exaggerations. That is Mahabharata. And Mahabharata was a story written by so many people. Okay. Just like someone said that if Bahubali movie was taken in the 12th century, by this time you would have temples for Bahubali and Shivagami. That's there. India is a country where we construct temples for the movie actors. We construct temple for the political leaders. We have temple for Indira Gandhi. We have temple for Narendra Modi. Someone is trying to construct a temple for Godse also. So, they are great literary works. That's what I feel. Mahabharata is one of the finest literary work in the world. And to attribute godly features, only point is that those who believe in that, you believe in that. Those who don't believe, you need not believe that. So let's come back to our point. Mahajanapadas, 600 BC to 300 BC. Mahajanapadas refers to the earliest state formation in India. For the first time, states emerged. So Mahajanapadas represents the earliest state formation in India in the 6th century BC. So this Mahajanapadas started in the 6th century BC. It represents the earliest state formation in India. That is, people began to leave their allegiance to the tribe and they began to give their allegiance to the place they live. And that's how the states emerged. This is associated with, that is, Mahajanapadas is associated with India's second urbanization. Mahajanapadas is also called India's second urbanization. That is from 600 BC onwards. When was the first urbanization of India? When was the first urbanization? That is Indus Valley civilization. So this is from 600 BC, second urbanization. So all the states were centered around a big city. And that's why we call Mahajanapadas the city states. It was associated with India's second urbanization and was characterized with a pottery, NBPW. So the second urbanization was based on a pottery in India, a polished pottery in India, NBPW, Northern Black Polished Ware. NBPW goes as Northern Black Polished Ware. So based on this pottery emerged the second urbanization. That is, wherever we see this pottery, that is related to this Mahajanapada period. So second urbanization of India, it started. And why this suddenly states emerge, that I will draw for your understanding. See, this is the early Vedic age. Early Vedic age. That is Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh region. I said that there were Aryan tribes in plenty. So, Aryan tribes, how they lived. So, this black color denotes one tribe. Red color denotes another tribe. So, they are not mixing one area, one tribe will be living. Likewise, another tribe. Then there was another tribe. So this was how the Aryan tribes lived in the early Vedic period. No interaction, no mixing. So your allegiance is only to your tribe. You are living close only with your tribal members. So you have your allegiance only to your tribe. But later Vedic period, what happened? Aryans began to migrate towards Bengal, Bihar region. So this is later Vedic period. Now the Aryans began to migrate in search of land. And this migration was not like the entire tribe moving out. Some big families began to move out. So one family means say 1,000 members or something like that. So they began to spread out in search of land. Everyone now, agriculture, more land was required. So uninhabited areas, people began to migrate. See, people of Kerala may easily understand the Malabar migration of 1970s. The Christian belt of Kerala, that is in the central Kerala, Ernakulam, Kottayam, Idukki, Pathanamthitta districts, population was high, land was less. The Christians began their migration to Malabar in 1970s, and they settled down in the eastern fringes of the districts like the Nilambur belt of Malappuram, Tiruvambadi belt, Tamarasheri belt of Kozhikode, then the Wayanad district, then the Irikur Peravur region of Kannur district, then again in the Kasaragod, Vellarikunda, such areas. So the same way, people began to migrate. All those people who migrated from central Kerala, their relatives are there in central Kerala even today, and they are also in the northern Kerala. The same way, people began to migrate. This migration was not the entire tribe, families began to migrate. So just this way, the Aryans began to migrate each other. You can see their animosity came down because now Aryan tribes are merging each other. So this way, the tribes began to migrate. Big families began to migrate to different places. Hope you are getting this. Along with them, there were the local people of India in this area. The blue color, the local inhabitants of India. That's why the local traditions also became a part. I said that phallus worship, mother goddess worship, this and all became a part because of all this. Now what happened? People to people contact increased. Earlier people were like frog in a well. Now they came out of the frog and they came into contact with a different set of people. Unity emerged, common features emerged. And this is a place in India where fixed geographical boundaries are there because of the help of river Ganga and its tributaries. River Ganga flowing through this, the heart of the Gangetic plain. See, this is not in the later Vedic period. I said that later Vedic period also it was tribal. And one point is big tribe only. But we are saying this happened towards the 600 BC. This is a process, okay, not suddenly from the later Vedic period. This is in the end of the later Vedic period. This sort of mixing is happening. River Indus and all its tributaries like Ram Ganga, Gagra, Gandak, Kosi, Yamuna, Zone. So these big rivers created geographical boundaries. So now people who lived within this geographical region, they towards the end of 600 BC, they developed some sort of unity. And then there was the powerful ruling families who established some big capitals. And these capitals were the second urbanization of India. Big capitals emerged, and every state was based on a capital controlled by the king and the village assemblies. And this process further strengthened, and from 600 BC, the clear-cut states emerged in India, and that is called Mahajanapadas. Are you clear with this demonstration? Hope you got this idea? Yeah. Now let's see the Mahajanapadas. Mahajanapadas of India. Let me draw an Indian map first. Gujarat, Pakistan region, Bengal, Kashmir, and all. Then this Pakistan-Afghanistan belt. 16 Mahajanapadas were there. 16. And let's see the 16 Mahajanapadas. Let me count it once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yes. 16 Mahajanapadas. Let me write the name. This one, yeah. Anga, Vajji, 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 Magadha, yeah, you need to study because sometimes the capital of Mahajanapadas could be asked. Kashi, Kosala, Malla, Kuru, Panchala, Shurasena, Chedi, Vatsa, Avanti. Yeah, prelims. These are for prelims. Avanti, Matsya, Gandhara, Kamboja, and Potano Asmaga. So these are the 16 Mahajanapadas, and only one Mahajanapada was south of Narmada river, that is Asmaga in Maharashtra. So these are the 16 Mahajanapadas. So these are the 16 Mahajanapadas emerged in India, and the first mention of the 16 Mahajanapadas were in a Buddhist text, Anguttara Nikaya. Buddhist text Anguttara Nikaya that mentioned about the 16 Mahajanapadas. Buddhist text Anguttara Nikaya that informed about the 16 Mahajanapadas. And from the 16 Mahajanapadas, emerged the first empire of India, and that was Magadha. Magadha was the first empire emerged in India. So the next topic, rise of Magadha. So Magadha was initially a, Magadha was initially a small kingdom in the South Bihar region. This was Magadha. And from there, Magadha emerged as the biggest empire of India. So you write the first point. Magadha came into prominence under Bimbisara, King Bimbisara. Magadha came into prominence under King Bimbisara, who belonged to Haryanga dynasty. His dynastic name was Haryanga dynasty. Just like we have Chola, Chera, Pandya, Chalukya, Vijayanagara, Mughal, like that, the dynastic name was Haryanga. Bimbisara was the king who belonged to Haryanga dynasty. Bimbisara was the first Indian ruler with a standing army. First Indian ruler with a standing army. I will come back to that previous slide. Wait. Bimbisara was the first Indian king with a standing army. Yesterday I said that early Vedic and later Vedic, we don't have any army. And Bimbisara was the first person with army, and that's why he is called Shrainik Bimbisara. He was the first one with army, Shraini, and that's why Bimbisara was also called Shrainik Bimbisara. Shrainik Bimbisara. Then Bimbisara, he strengthened his position through war and matrimonial alliance. Bimbisara strengthened his position through war and matrimonial alliance. That is, he married from neighboring kingdoms. So marriage is just like M4 marry ad. Marriage is linking of not two individuals, two families. The same way, Bimbisara married from here and there, so many wives, the leading families of that time. So that strengthened his position. And through matrimonial alliance and war, Bimbisara strengthened his position. That I will show you how. Bimbisara conquered. Bimbisara, he conquered Anga Mahajanapada. He conquered Anga Mahajanapada. So Mahajanapada of Anga was conquered by Bimbisara. Bimbisara conquered Anga Mahajanapada. And he got Kashi as dowry. He married a Vajji princess and he got Kashi as dowry. So marriage was not a simple thing for Bimbisara. He got Kashi as dowry and he conquered Anga. And thereby you can see that he enlarged Magadha. So Magadha became this much big with Bimbisara. Then, there was a physician. There was a physician, famous physician in the court of Bimbisara. Anyone knows his name? Not Sharaga. Sharaga was in the court of Kanishka. Yeah, Jivaga. Jivaga was the physician. And Jivaga was even sent to other kingdoms to treat the kings. So Bimbisara had a medical diplomacy also. So Bimbisara was a great man. Yeah, Chandra Pratyodaya Mahasena, to that king and all. Bimbisara was a great man, but eventually Bimbisara was killed by his son Ajatashatru. Bimbisara was killed by his son Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru. Now, Ajatashatru was a great conqueror. And he defeated the two powerful kingdoms of that time. Two powerful kingdoms of that time were Kosala and Vajji. He was related to all, but he killed his father and he never respected any relation. So Ajatashatru conquered, Ajatashatru conquered Kosala and Vajji. I includes Malla because by that time Malla was already conquered by Vajji. So Ajatashatru destroyed the most powerful kingdoms of that time, that is Kosala and Vajji. You remember this? Ajatashatru conquered Kosala and Vajji, thereby made Magadha bigger. So Ajatashatru conquered Ajatashatru conquered Kosala and Vajji. Anguttara Nikaya is the book which mentions the 16 Mahajanapadas for the first time. Anguttara Nikaya is a Buddhist book, and that Buddhist book mentioned the 16 Mahajanapadas. Mallas were conquered by Vajji. So this is Ajatashatru. Then what happened? Ajatashatru was killed by his son, Udayana. So all are killing their fathers. Ajatashatru killed Bimbisara and Ajatashatru was killed by his son Udayana. Vajji's capital was Vaishali. Vajji is the Mahajanapada name, not the different name. Okay. So Udayana, what was done by Udayana? Udayana or Udayin, okay, not Udayana, sorry, it's not Udayana. Udayin, who killed his father, he made Pataliputra the capital of Magadha. The capital of Magadha. Earliest capital of Magadha was Rajagriha. Rajagriha was the earliest capital, and that was shifted to Pataliputra by Udayin. So all this belonged to the Haryangas. Okay, Ajatashatru, Bimbisara, Udayin all belonged to Haryanga dynasty. So that was the first prominent dynasty of Magadha. Later, Haryangas became weakened and the Haryangas were overthrown. And then came the second major dynasty called Shishunaga. Shishunaga dynasty emerged. And the Shishunagas were very big rulers. First ruler was Shishunaga. And this Shishunagas, they extended the Magadha up to Avanti. So Shishunagas, they conquered large number of territories and they expanded the power up to Avanti. So this Magadha became larger. Shishunagas, the second dynasty of Magadha, that is Shishunagas, came after overthrowing the Haryanga dynasty. Haryanga dynasty was overthrown. Just like you might have studied in your school, Pallava dynasty was overthrown by Chola dynasty, and Cholas were later overthrown by Pandyas, and Pandyas were later overthrown by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The same way, Haryanga dynasty was overthrown by Shishunagas, and the Shishunagas expanded the Magadha up to Avanti. So look at the map. Magadha was initially an yellow color. That Magadha is now expanding under various rulers. Black color expansion under Bimbisara, green color expansion under Ajatashatru, and blue color expansion under the Shishunagas. Next point. So Shishunagas expanded, and Shishunagas had a powerful ruler called Kalashoga. Shishunagas had a powerful ruler called Kalashoga. Shishunagas were another rulers. Shishunagas were actually officers of Haryanga. Later they had overpowered Haryangas and they established their rule. Just like India, we had so many rulers. First Sultans came, that is slave dynasty. Then came the Khaljis, like that. So Kalashoga, he shifted the capital to Vaishali. He was also a patron of Buddhism. That I will deal when I deal with Buddhism. Kalashoga, he was the ruler who shifted the capital to Vaishali, Shishunaga. See, history, you know, no ruling dynasty ruled ever. One, see, India's history, you know. Mauryas ruled. Mauryas were overthrown. Then Kanishka, Kushana scheme, they were overthrown. Gupta scheme. Like that, every time in the history, one dynasty will be overthrown by another family. Dynasty means a family. Initially, India, Sultan period, Ilbaris ruled. They were overthrown by Jalaluddin Khalji. He established Khalji dynasty. Khaljis were later overthrown by Ghazi Malik, and he established his family name, Tughlaq dynasty. Tughlaqs were overthrown by Sayyid dynasty. Sayyids were overthrown by Lodi dynasty. Lodis were overthrown by Mughals. Like that, this is a dynastic change. See, Bimbisara, his son Ajatashatru, his son Udain, they belong to the same family, same dynasty. Once an outsider from that family comes and kills the last ruler and establishes his rule, that is called new dynasty. So, Shishunagas. Then finally, the Shishunagas. The last Shishunaga ruler was killed by Mahapadma Nanda. Mahapadma Nanda. And he established the new dynasty, Nanda dynasty. So that is the third major dynasty of Magadha. First was Haryanga. Haryanga was overthrown by Shishunaga, and Shishunagas are now overthrown by Mahapadma Nanda. And he named his dynasty Nanda dynasty. Mahapadma was not a minister, but he was the illegitimate son of last Nanda ruler, Mahanandin. His revenge against his biological father, he overthrown the Shishunagas and he established his dynasty, Nanda dynasty. Mahapadma Nanda was a great conqueror, and he expanded the dynasty up to Bias River in the west. He conquered Gujarat. He conquered Maharashtra up to Karnataka, North Karnataka. And he also conquered Kalinga, that is Odisha. So this was Mahapadma's empire. I'll say that once more. 1 second. So Mahapadma, he conquered the western India, that is all Delhi part and all. He conquered the region up to Bias River in Punjab. Bias River in Punjab. Then he conquered Gujarat. Then he conquered Maharashtra. See, if anyone in Maharashtra attending this class, Nanded in Marathwada is named after Mahapadma Nanda, the famous place Nanded in Maharashtra, named after this Mahapadma Nanda. Mahapadma also conquered Kalinga, that is Odisha, and Bengal. So this was the territory of Mahapadma Nanda. That red color region was conquered to the Magadha dynasty by Mahapadma Nanda. So this was the expansion of Magadha. Magadha became the first empire of India in this way. Udayan didn't conquer anything. So this is the expansion of Magadha. The small yellow color, see, the small yellow color was Magadha, and from there it began to expand. First expansion under Bimbisara, later expansion under Ajatashatru, then this blue colored expansion under Shishunagas, and finally the red color expansion under Mahapadma Nanda. This way, Magadha emerged as the first big empire of India. Kashi Magadha received from Vajji as dowry. Kashi they received from Vajji as dowry. Okay, if you want, you can draw that. This is just for your understanding. Okay. No one will ask which area was conquered by Genghis Khan. Here you have to remember only few points. Just I will elaborate that once more. Expansion of Magadha. Magadha came into prominence under Bimbisara of Haryanga dynasty. He conquered Anga and received Kashi as dowry. That's all. Then Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru conquered two powerful kingdoms, Kosala, Vajji. You study that, Kosala, Vajji can be a question. Then came the Shishunagas. They expanded the Magadha up to Avanti. Shishunagas expanded up to Avanti. Then Mahapadmananda. Rajagriha was the first capital. See, for your understanding to study all this, I will show how. Haryanga, you write first dynasty, Haryanga dynasty. There you have to mention three names. Bimbisara, Ajatashatru, Udain. So what all they did? Bimbisara, here you have to mention about Kashi, Anga, Jivada. Then Ajatashatru, you say, he killed his father, conquered Kosala, Vajji. Udain, Patliputra. You just write Patliputra. No need to elaborate the sentence. Udain made Patliputra the capital, nothing. Udain, Patliputra. You should understand that seeing Udain, Patliputra, you should understand that he made Patliputra the capital. Then second one, you write Shishunaga, next dynasty. Expansion up to Avanti. And mention about Kalashoga who shifted the capital to Vaishali. Over. Then third one, Nanda, Mahapadmananda, expanded the kingdom all over India. So don't get complicated, don't get the things complicated. You devise your own methods, easy way, write down in point format, just revise. These all are simple. The trouble for you is that you don't have the background in history, you are coming for the first time. But no need to worry. Listen to the class, go through the notes, read the NCERT. This will be simple. Okay, Rome was not built in a single day. That's the point you have to remember always. You can't do anything in 1 hour or 1 day, but constant practice, perseverance, you will reach your goal. You should have that confidence. And you are going to study many things. Articles in polity, then so many things in geography. Everywhere in the civil service examination, you have to remember many things. But understand and study that. Okay, that's it. No need to mug up anything. Just listen to this. I am a postgraduate in history. That's my subject. What to repeat? My subject. Someone asked me what's my subject and all. My core subject is I am a postgraduate in history. Malla was occupied by Vajjis. No need to worry about that. Please don't write all these things, okay? I am explaining many things for your understanding. No one will ask you who conquered Malla and all. Such petty facts. See, you finished with the maps, all of you? All of you finished with the map part? Okay. See, listen to me. Civil service examination is not a quiz competition. They will ask only the very core points only. And you will get it from 90% of the questions UPSC asks, you will get it from the class. Till now, this is what you can ask any of your seniors studied in Shankar IAS Academy. Every class I used to say this, and every year and also I am always happy with that. Okay, if UPSC, see, this 2020, they are coming with a weird set of questions. And it is difficult to get from my class notes. No need to worry, I will change the strategy. Because every year, my class notes, what I explain gets changed, gets updated. So last year, if you search my notes, some points I won't say this year. I will add something. So that is why we are having that experience. We are the teachers. Okay. No need to worry about that. See, in between the class, I used to say that this Malla was conquered already. No need to write such things. Wherever I stress, that's what you have to follow. Okay, doubts? You can message me. Now we will go for the doubt clearance sessions. Okay, some hands are raised. First one. Yes. Sia 1940. You can ask your doubt if it is allowed. Murali. Murali.
Yes, sir.
You can ask, allow the people to ask the doubts.
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, who was the last ruler of Shishunaga dynasty?
Mahanandin. Mahanandin.
And his son was Mahapadmananda.
Mahapadmananda was an illegitimate son. Mahanandin's court servant was mother of Mahapadmananda. So his biological father was Mahanandin, but he never owned Mahapadmananda as his son because he was born to a Shudra servant. And Mahapadma was angry with his biological father and he killed him for that reason.
Okay, sir. And who is the famous physician of Bimbisara's court?
Jivaga. Jivaka. Jivaga.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Next. Next person.
Hello, sir.
So many hands.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes.
Sir,
yes, I can hear you.
Sir, Gothran என்ன sir? நீங்க இப்ப ட்ரைபல் மெர்ஜ் வந்து லேட்டர் வேதிக்ல அதான் மகாஜனாபாஸ் வரும்போது தான் ட்ரைபல் மெர்ஜ் ஆகுது அப்படிங்கிறீங்க. அப்ப கோத்ரானா என்ன சார்? அப்பவே கொஞ்சம் மெர்ஜ் ஆயிருக்காங்கல்ல.
Hello, can you just ask me in English?
Tamil தெரியா சார்? Sir, what is the difference between
I can get the Tamil, but I didn't. What was your doubt exactly? I couldn't get that.
Sir, in Gotra you said there is a common ancestry is abolished like that way.
No, Gotra means common ancestry. Assume that. What's your name?
Shiva Muthukumar, sir.
Shiva, you belong to, assume that you belong to Bharata tribe. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Early Vedic period, you can marry anyone from your Bharata tribe. No trouble.
Yes, sir.
Later Vedic period, the Bharata people and all, they began to migrate to different parts.
Yes, sir.
So Bharata tribe was internally divided into different groups, and that group is called Gotra.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I thought Bharata, yes, sir. I thought Bharata troops were now allowed to marry the Puru groups.
Not like that. Bharata and Puru merged together, and after that there is nothing called Bharata and nothing called Puru. Now that got changed into a new group called Puru.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have another doubt. Sir, in Gotra means there is a division in inside the one group.
Division within a tribe, that is Gotra. The only point is that Shiva, now you are shifted to Gotra A. You are a Bharata member, but now you got something called Gotra. You are Gotra A of Bharata tribe. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You cannot marry from Gotra A of Bharata tribe. You can marry anyone outside Gotra A of Bharata. You can marry Gotra B, C, D of Bharata or from other tribe. No problem. You cannot marry from your own blood relation. That is some meaning of Gotra.
Okay, sir. Sir, another doubt, sir. In when they are lived unity, like the tribes groups, there is no fixed army, sir. But how they are migrated and they are holistics, but they developed the army. How there is a unity, sir? Why
See,
they consider
now
this?
assume that we are in Chennai. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But Chennai now have not only Tamilians. We have Telugus there, Malayalis there, Kannadigas there, North Indians there, people from different area. But when we are living in Chennai city, we all are Chennai people. We are having a close cooperation, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Same way, when the people spread out from their tribe and they joined in a geographical area, over the year they began to have friendly relations, and that's how the unity developed.
How they trusted, sir? How they trusted and how they differ enemies and friends, sir?
No,
Because
by that time,
army, separate army, fixed army, how they separates the enemy, sir? How they differs that?
enemy means another kingdom, just like India, Pakistan, and all emerged now. The same way that enemy ship emerged.
I can't understand, sir. Sir, one king may grown, sir. Now the diversity is begun, sir. Every group is uniting. How they differs the enemy from the diverse? Sir? Because they developing the army.
When state formed now, initially there were tribe only.
Yes, sir.
Later now states emerged. Anga state, Magadha state, Malla state. So many emerged now.
Yes, sir.
So people living in Anga will be one. People living in Magadha will be the enemy. That's it.
Sir, but trade relation.
Blood relation.
Trade relation.
Trade relations were also there. Some are friends. For example, during Bimbisara's time, Kosala and Magadha were friends.
Yes, sir.
At that time, trade was there. Ajatashatru came, they became enemy.
Oh.
It depends on the king, attitude of the king. People were not having any animosity. If I am a king, I had affection to Kosala king, we will be friends. See, just like earlier, India, Sri Lanka was friends. India, Nepal was friends. But now anti-Indian rulers emerged in Nepal and Sri Lanka. So they are creating troubles for India.
Yes,
same was there. Political change was the reason for the enemyship and also friendship.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Okay, bye. Next doubt.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my doubt is regarding the 10th mandala of the Purusha Sukta sloka of Rigveda, sir.
What's your doubt?
So what is the understanding, sir, that corruption was made during the later period when the Rigveda was written, or
Yes.
during the or the concept of this Chaturvarna system arised during the early phase of, late phase of early Vedic period, which is the correct, sir?
Yeah, I'll explain. I got your doubt. Actually, Purusha Sukta is now purposefully written into Rigveda to show that this discrimination was there in Rigveda also.
Okay, sir.
But it was added later. Original Rigvedic period, there was nothing called a 10th mandala.
Oh,
that was written down later in the Gupta period in order to strengthen the Brahmanical domination and the caste system in India.
Okay.
The first and 10th mandalas were purposeful additions with a vested interest. Okay. How we said that, identified that, because 2nd to 9th mandala, the languages are similar.
Okay.
See, if you check any book in the world before 2008 or 2007, you will never get a term called Facebook.
Yes.
But in Rigveda was 1st mandala and 10th mandala, there are certain terms that started only in the Gupta period. So we identified that these are corrupt additions. Got it?
Okay, understood, sir. I got it, sir. Sir, the second thing is that sir told about the Mahajanapadas. I understood that the concept of ethnicity diminished, and now the geographical boundary became more important, right, sir?
Yes.
Tribal concept has had diminished.
Tribal, because earlier you are living together in the tribe, so your affection is only to your tribe.
Yes.
See, just like that, we were living in our village. Our affection will be to our family and neighbors. When you go to Chennai, our ideology, mindset, all will change. That's what happened.
Okay, sir. That's fine, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Next. Next person. Anyone? Who is the next person? I can see 7 more hands are there. Pooja, Shivapriya, Sahana, Dachayani, Sarup, Surya. Then number ends with 0104 7948. Any doubts? Murali, what's happening there?
Just a minute, sir.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Yes, good afternoon.
So, why the Gotra issue is not in Kerala?
Because except for that Brahmins of Kerala, no one is following that Gotra. That's it. Only Brahmins of Kerala, they have that Gotra. Others are not considered.
All the other places, it came to all the other groups also, Gotra issue.
Yeah, other areas it is still there. But maybe because Kerala people were not worried of that much and Kerala got mixed with different communities, that could be the reason. Culturally, that was not there. Maybe earlier it would have been there in Kerala, but now it is not there. Only Brahmin community look the Gotra when the marriage is coming. That's all.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Next person. If any doubt for Gotra and caste and all, I will explain that tomorrow once more. Okay, many people are having the doubt of Gotra and all. I will clearly devise some drawing today. I will think of that and I will explain that tomorrow. So if anyone has the Gotra doubts, you can leave now. No problem. That I will elaborate tomorrow.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I have a doubt regarding this Mahajanapada, sir. So in that
Yes.
we have to read capitals of Mahajanapadas and also the regions, no, sir? This will be asked in UPSC.
See, focus on Magadha. Mahajanapada, what I said about Magadha, you focus on that. Capitals, I will say tomorrow.
Okay, sir. And region also important, no, sir?
Everyone in which area?
Yes, sir.
That's
That is
just
important or?
Which modern state of India? That is okay. That I will say tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Next person.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Myself, Sahana, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I have a doubt regarding that Danya and Maru. What is that, sir?
Both are the terms for desert used in the Vedic books. Danva is a term for desert. Maru is also a term for desert. Got it?
Sir, sorry, sir. Can you repeat, sir?
Sahana, this, you know, today we have desert, Rajasthan desert, Thar desert and all. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Sahana,
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir. Yes, sir. I can, sir.
See, Sahana, in Rig Veda,
Yes, sir. I can hear, sir.
Yeah, Danva and Maru are the terms used to denote desert. Both are equal to desert. Like Marubhumi, we say. Maru and Danva are the two terms used in the Vedic text to identify desert. Any other doubts? Any other doubt?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, who was the discoverer of Sutkek Endor, sir?
Orelstein. Orelstein. A-U-R-E-L. A-U-R-E-L-S-T-E-I-N. Orelstein.
Okay. Sir, and I have another doubt. As you told that Varuna, right? Varuna, people started not recognizing Indra as a god, and because of his extramarital and affairs. Then how could they started practicing polygamy, sir? It is also against ethics and morality, right?
That is common people now, common, but God is considered as something ethical and supreme. That's why now in USA and all Western world, this extramarital relations and all these relations are a part of their society. But when Bill Clinton went for some extramarital relations, it became a big furor because we expect our leaders as well as gods to be perfect. That's it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Next one. Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir, can you suggest a book for further reading for the Rig Vedic religion, sir?
R.S. Sharma, NCRT, my class notes, and Shankara IAS Academy book. That's enough. No need to read anything else. You stick to my class notes, then NCRT of R.S. Sharma, and also Shankara IAS Academy material. That's all. That's enough.
Yes, sir.
More than enough.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Next person. Four more raised hands are there. The numbers ending with 958, 955, 917, 104. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
Sir, in early Vedic period, you said that Aryan life denoted cows. So, how could they sacrifice the cows for meat and leather, sir?
The thing is that their chief source of income was cow. Okay. So they had plenty of cattle wealth. The aged cows, you know, when the cows are getting aged, you have to leave that. Just like that, we are discarding our waste. The old cow, once it is getting too much old, it is not at all productive. But even if it is not productive, you have to feed it. So the sacrifices were a part of discarding the old animals. Sacrifices, the old animals were did that in the Rig Vedic period. But later Vedic period, when the sacrifices became bigger, even the healthy animals also began to be killed. That's why trouble started.
So, sacrifice was for both cows and what, buffaloes or
cows and bull and
bulls.
cow.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And the tribe you said about the Bharata tribe. So, you'll say tomorrow Gotra tribe.
Yeah, next class I will elaborate.
Okay,
because
sir. Thank
many
you,
are
sir.
having the doubt between Gotra caste. Even there is nothing to link with the Gotra and caste, but I will elaborate that once more. I will devise some drawing techniques and I will come.
And could I say that the later Vedic period is example of exogamy?
Yeah, exogamy.
So the early Vedic period introduced the Gotra. Is it so, sir?
No. Gotra came in the later Vedic period and they began to practice exogamy. Earlier it was endogamy.
So, sir, sorry, sir. Sir, earlier Vedic period, there were Gotra, right, sir? Or
no,
not?
Gotra emerged only in the later Vedic period.
Okay, sir. Then Bharata tribe and all?
Tribe is different from Gotra. Tribe is the bigger group.
Okay, sir.
Divisions within the tribe is called Gotra.
Okay, sir. So the concept emerged in the later
Later
Vedic.
Vedic period.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Next
Thank you, sir.
person. Yes.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Sir, just before a week, I just had a glimpse on new NCERT for ancient India. For new NCERT, or can I switch to old NCERT like R.S. Sharma, as you said?
You finish R.S. Sharma. New NCERT only if time is there you can go through that. Or else no problem.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for attention, sir.
Okay. So, class Yes.
Hello,
Next
sir.
person. Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my doubt regarding Magadha region, sir, is Haryanka dynasty is first dynasty or what, sir?
First dynasty of Magadha.
Okay, sir. Is there any dynasty in other regions also, sir?
Everywhere, every kingdom had dynasties. But that is not required for us to
sir.
study. That's why we focus only on Magadha.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. That's my doubt, sir. Thanks.
Yeah. Last person. 104. One more person is there with a raised hand. Any doubts?
No, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can we say at the later Vedic age, ahimsa concept started?
Towards end of later Vedic age.
So that was the first time ahimsa concept emerged. Okay, sir. Thank you. So then the Maru and another thing was the red, sir. Is it a differentiation between Rigveda and later Vedic, or is it
No.
same?
Common term for both periods.
Common term. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Next person.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I just saw a question from the KPSC.
Karnataka PSC or Kerala PSC?
Yes. Yeah, Karnataka PSC, sir.
Yes.
On the Battle of 10 Kings, sir. That is in the Vedic period, Battle of 10 Kings was fought between. There are 4 options like Bharata and Puru, Puru and Anu, Puru and Yadu, and Kuru and Pandava. Since Bharata was in one side, so I chose the first one, sir. Sir, Puru was in the other. Puru was in alliance group, sir.
Puru was in the opposite side.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, thank you,
that
sir.
Is a weird question. That
Okay,
way, worry, okay? That alliance part only.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye. Last person, 4714.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So can you show the map, sir?
Which map?
Yes, sir.
Magadha map.
The Magadha
map.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think we had, okay, it's gone. I will draw that to a next class. Okay. Actually, it is not a slide. Actually, when we stop the share, that gets automatically deleted.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I will draw that in the next class. Okay.
I have drawn them out to half and.
Okay,
so,
you missed which part?
I wrote only up to. I had not read Cherry, Vatsa, Avanti, that names of that map.
You wrote all the 16 names?
Yes, sir, I wrote, sir.
Then which part you missed? That expansion of Magadha you missed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 1 second. I will draw it again. You got all the 16 names now?
Yes, sir.
So I will draw that expansion part of Magadha. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Magadha was originally this yellow color region. This was Magadha. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And Magadha had its first expansion under Ajatashatru. Sorry, Bimbisara. He conquered Anga Mahajanapada. Anga. One second, I will draw that once more.
Yes, sir.
He conquered Anga. This is Anga Mahajanapada he conquered. And he also received Kashi as dowry. Kashi as dowry.
Yes, sir.
Then he was killed and he was succeeded by his son Ajatashatru.
Yes, sir.
Ajatashatru conquered Kosala and Vajji. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then came the next dynasty, Shishunagas. They conquered up to Avanti. That is region north of Narmada river. This is river Narmada. And this is the region up to Avanti. This was conquered by Shishunagas. Shishunagas conquered this area.
Yes, sir.
Then last ruler was Mahapadma Nanda. Mahapadma Nanda conquered up to Bias river, Gujarat, northern Karnataka, Maharashtra, Kalinga, Bengal. This was the region conquered by Mahapadma Nanda. This is Bias river in the west. Bias river was the boundary. He conquered Gujarat, Maharashtra, North Karnataka, Kalinga, that is Odisha, and Bengal. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Finished?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Or Harappan site is Sukka Jando. Harappan, that westernmost extent of Harappan civilization. Yesterday we said that westernmost extent of Harappan civilization, Sukka Jando. That place was discovered by an Englishman called Orelstein. Okay. I think it is finished, Murali.
Yes, sir.
Murali. Okay,
Oh,
bye.
sir.
Okay, bye.